I think a lot of proposal managers out there feel like this pigeonholed project manager. You're sitting in the back office, or you're at home, and you're just this recipient that is reactive to everything, even though you don't want to be. You're forced to be that. And I want to talk about how we can become that superior strategy informant. When we go and talk about each of these points, and let's go to the next slide, I want you to first really understand and think and be super conscious about this. And I know this can be a hard exercise for some of us, but I want you to think about how your position is really viewed today. Even your performance, how is that really viewed today? There are a couple signs within the organization that can show you that, right? If you are kind of viewed as more of a reactive recipient of projects and you're just expected to get things done and keep your head down and move forward silently, if you have a feeling of that, you have to kind of embrace that a little bit, and I'll talk about why. Or if it's on the other side, are you already at the table partially? Do you have your voice on these conversations about strategy, about what's winning and what's losing opportunities as a revenue driver? So I want you to first be aware, take the time and take the consciousness to be aware how you are viewed in the company today. And, I know Catherine has the experience with that too, myself included. I've been in positions where I've been viewed as a kind of as a cog in the system, that can be easily replaced. Or I've also been viewed as a strategic informant, right? So I want you to really be thinking about that. That's step one. Step two is really about jumping into a place where you understand that you have insights that nobody else has. You are deep into the opportunity of trying to win this contract with some organization, public or private sector. You are deep into the competitive intel. You understand intimately what the competition is doing, why you're in a good position or in a poor position as a company to pursue and win, or to pursue and potentially lose the opportunity. So you have to remember that, okay, number one, I can be aware of how I'm viewed today, and I have to have that as a foundation. But you have to be really aware that you should have a lot of confidence because you have insights that no one else has. So if your awareness is bringing you to the conclusion that, hey, you know what? I don't have a seat at the table, or I'm not viewed as the strategic informant. You need to find a way, and we'll talk about this here in a little bit, to be able to position yourself better as that strategy informant to others. You have insights nobody else has, and you need to attach yourself to the revenue generating part of the business as far as that positioning goes. So along with that, Catherine, I want to pause here because you're so deep into this world of being aware and also kind of setting yourself up to be that strategy informant. Yeah. Any other insights that you might want to throw in here before we go to the third point about, making sure that people have the confidence to position themselves well within the organization?
Yeah, I think when we're delivering information about strategies, a lot of the information that's top of mind for me is formatting. So understand what executives want. A lot of times, sorry, we're going to have to sacrifice nuance in order to get people on board. So when we think about formatting, you're thinking about single numbers, stoplights, like really quick digestible information to help those folks understand what keys they might be looking at when they're making their strategic roadmap. So I'd say not only the information that you deliver, but also the format in which you deliver that information is super important.
I love it. Yeah, that's right on. So as we jump to the third point here about getting a seat at the table, you start with awareness. How am I really viewed today? You start to really understand, hey, I've got information no one else has. How can we share that? Catherine shared some amazing insights about how to get there. Really understanding the executives within your organization, kind of what makes them tick. It's the how you deliver as much as the what, if that makes sense, right? If the what is your insights, the how could be, the multiplicity of ways that Catherine showed about. Third, it's all about the positioning. And I want you to repeat after me, either in your minds or out loud, I win revenue. I win revenue. companies often, when we're in a downturn, we just posted, the Feds posted the numbers just recently, and we are technically in a recession, and it could get worse. And when companies start to panic, I know we talked about us not panicking, but when a company starts to panic, they start looking at what are the things that are not driving revenue and who are the people who are not driving revenue. And you have to be really strong in positioning yourself, if you're not doing it already, as a revenue generator. We are not project managers throwing words on pages to get our name out there and get some awareness of the company, as some people perceive us as, back to that awareness position. We are about winning revenue for the company. The company will suffer without us. And if a company, after repeated efforts, is not seeing that value, there might be a better company out there that can really, really get you to that area of comfort. But I want you to always be repeating that I win revenue within your company. I have to say, I've been in positions where, the proposal team was this back office like thing that we were talking about, maybe turning it off, maybe doing away with it, and maybe just having a contractor to help us on a project basis. But one of the companies I worked for, we were able to turn that, because of these points, into an operation that tripled the amount of dollars won through RFPs in 1 year, and is about to triple it again now as a customer of ours, based on some of the work we're doing. But it's about that, don't let others destroy your confidence because of their perception of you. You have to make sure that you're aware that, hey, I win revenue and I'm valuable to the company. Catherine, any final take on that third point?
I've got a quick question for you. Who do I tell this to? I can tell it to my boss all day long, but generally they're not very high in the org chart as well. Like, what job titles am I striving to communicate my cost per bid, my revenue generation, my capacity? Like, who needs to get that information?
I think it depends on the company, but you have to look at people in power at the company, people making the decisions. So largely VPs of sales or chief revenue officers. I would say heads of business ops or sales ops or rev ops. That's important, because that's really the core function that I got in really good with hours at a prior company, and he became a really good friend of mine. And I was able to clearly communicate the value proposition that we're driving. And in fact, I connected with him again yesterday about company progress and things like that. But heads of revenue, heads of revenue and go-to-market operations, heads of marketing, they could be in a really tough spot. I know a lot of proposal people and professionals roll up on the marketing front. Marketing, depending on the construction of the company, can or cannot have power openly. So when we're talking, let's say a healthy sales process that we promote with our team here is, you want to be multi-threaded within an organization, right? You want to be with the VP of sales. That's who we sell to largely as a company, Patrick. We sell to sales ops and we sell to proposal people, right? And in the absence of any one of those, we don't get very far in the sales process. But you have to multi-thread with, up those thread counts. Yes, Paul, absolutely. You've got to up those thread counts within the organization. So I would say, Catherine, to your question, heads of sales ops, marketing, even heads of finance. That's one that we kind of deflect sometimes, but the efficiency and revenue gains that we bring, heads of finance should be aware. So I would say those 4 functions.
That's
and
spectacular.
Then finally, the fourth point. And I don't want to take all this webinar's time on this. I know we have a lot more content as we talk about retention here in a little bit, but along those lines, you're positioning with these 4 personas, you have to be able to quantify your impact, right? So have a solid number of the revenue that you've won or your team has won. New revenue, renewed revenue. We're going to talk a lot about renewed revenue and retention and things like that. Logos acquired and all of those winning insights, right? So really be thinking about, how do I communicate that? Listen, I know that it's tough sometimes. Oh man, I'm gonna send a monthly email to these people. I'm gonna Slack them, or I'm gonna do this. Like, it's tough in this remote work environment openly to make sure you have those conversations, but you are doing yourself a disservice if you do not step out and put that information out there. I would say be cognizant as much about the how as you are about the why. On the how front, it could be on a regular forecast call. It could be in an email or in a Slack. It could be in some other arena. Just be thoughtful. I believe in the ability to just be inspired and know like how to do it. So those are my 4 points about getting a seat at the table, going from a pigeonholed project manager to a superior strategy informant. And we'll talk about some of this throughout the rest of the webinar, but any final plug on there, Catherine, before we move on?
Yeah, I think, and I popped this in the chat, but I actually used to do a video about my presentation, or about my performance, like a loom, 5 minutes, 3 minutes to the executives. You can throw a loom or some kind of like, there's a million different programs that'll let you put like a TikTok style video together, and you would be surprised at how much traction you can get by delivering insights like this with 2 or 3 slides in a snappy little video, and then folks can consume it and not they're off with their day. So be creative with this because you want to get their attention.
I love it.